Okay, I'm going to do a quick demonstration that hopefully shows that the Lightroom Develop module and Adobe Camera RAW are the exact same thing. Exact same tool, just formatted differently. ACR is a front end to Photoshop. Lightroom is a cataloging and output tool uh, built around a Develop module that is Adobe Camera RAW laid out in a different way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a RAW file that I have not input into my Lightroom catalog yet. So it's just basically rather simple, um, nothing spectacular, but here it is. It's a basic image. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit auto on here. I'm going to pull back some of the highlights. All right, so let's take a look at what I have here. I can see it's kind of skewed, so I'm going to go over here to the lens correction, and I'm just going to choose automatic, which will square it up a bit. That's kind of cool. And I also see it's a little bit dark on the bottom, so simple enough. I'm going to put in a gradient that's going to actually pull back some of the highlights down here and maybe just boost the exposure and the contrast a bit. Okay, and then finally, what else am I going to do? Oh yeah, I'll go over here and I'm going to choose from, instead of Adobe Standard, I want to go to Camera Vivid. Alright, so it makes the colors more vivid. And then from there, I'm just going to say that's fine. I'm going to open it up in Photoshop. Now, once it's opening in Photoshop, what this does is it creates a .xmp sidecar file. So now I have this in Photoshop, but if I go back to the directory, you can see now it's created this XMP sidecar file. All right, and that has all the Camera RAW settings in it. Okay, so I can simply go ahead and do my edits in here. If I go to save it, just click, Control S. I can save it as a JPEG. I can save it as whatever I want. Okay, that aside, let's just leave this here and let's go over to Lightroom. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to import into some new images. So let's go up here, and yeah, this is always more fun than it needs to be. Okay, here we go. So we're going to ACR. There it is. Now you can see here in the preview, it looks very dull. It looks, the same way it did when I opened it in Adobe Camera RAW. Okay, so let's import this file. So it goes in and imports it. Now it's going to build my previews. Now watch. You're kidding me. Okay, it's building the previews. Sorry about that glitch. I'm not going to go back and redo it, but look, it applied them. All right, I'm glad we got a chance to see that. So let's go over here to the Develop module. All right, here's what it looks like here with the RAW file, as you can see here, and with all those settings applied. If I go to Photoshop, they look like the same image. How can that be? Well, it's because if I go through all these different things, here's the auto correction. That's in the lens correction portion of the Develop module. The lens correction is also a tab within the ACR engine. If I go over here to camera calibration, you can see I'm now on Camera Vivid. If I go up here to Basic, which is my basic Develop tabs, all the settings I had set in Adobe Camera RAW are sitting here, and the final little piece, even the gradient filter that I had put in Adobe Camera RAW is there. So obviously it's the exact same thing as the Adobe Camera RAW module. So anybody who tells you differently has no idea what they're talking about. And I hope that helps simplify it. If you wanted to try to show this the other way around, what you can actually do is right-click on an image here in Lightroom and go to metadata and then save the metadata to a file, and this will create for a RAW file the XMP sidecar file. Lightroom stores those settings in the Lightroom catalog, but it does allow you the facility to export it from Lightroom and then open it up in Camera RAW. So let's take a look at that since we're here. I'm going to close this without saving it. All right, what I'm going to do here in Lightroom, let's just do some outrageous stuff. All right, I'm going to really crank up the clarity. I'm going to desaturate it. All right, that's probably enough to show what happened. So we cranked the clarity, totally desaturated it, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save the metadata to a file. All right, so that's what it does, and it's going to save that as an XMP file. All right, it's still there. I've just updated it with the Lightroom version of it. So now let's go to Photoshop and let's open that file directly. So I'm going to open up this file, and it's going to invoke now again Adobe Camera RAW, and what it should now do is read the settings from Lightroom, which it did exactly. So Lightroom overwrote the sidecar file, has the new settings in here, and now I can open this directly to Photoshop, and it'll apply all the Adobe Camera RAW settings, which were the Lightroom settings, to Photoshop directly. Much easier way to do it is just to right-click here, edit in, and go up to Adobe Photoshop. You don't actually need to export the sidecar file, which, having it in the catalog saves you all the trouble. This is what I love about Lightroom. It is Adobe Camera RAW. It's just everything is very well organized, and it gives me all the other tools that I need. So I hope that helps with any confusion that Camera RAW and Lightroom are not the same things. Feel free to try this stuff on your own. Write down settings in one, write down settings in the other, put the files in two different locations, see if they come out the same. I can guarantee you they're exactly the same. Each of these different tabs here, okay, is a tab in Lightroom or in Adobe Camera RAW. All of these different things. They're the exact same set of tools. So have a good day.